Hey friends, Worm here, or at least an exceptionally convincing hologram, today to talk about Destiny 1 exotics that don't exist in Destiny 2. And yeah, I don't know why, I just kind of had some nostalgia for some reason and wanted to talk about this today. But of course, there were a lot of exotics in Destiny 1 that never got brought over into Destiny 2. And we're not going to talk about all of them because some of them have been, I guess, reworked in a certain way, such as Red Death. Red Death was a pulse rifle, and it was basically just remade into the Crimson. The Crimson now does the exact same thing that Red Death did, but it's a hand cannon now. Same thing with like Zalo Supercell, which is now Risk Runner. Slight tweaking there, obviously, but basically the same thing. Abaddon and Nova Mortis are just Thunderlord, but other elemental burns. What are some of the other ones? Universal Remote, I feel like, was replaced by Duality. There's a lot of exotics that were remade into different exotics, but there's also a lot of exotics that I don't know why they haven't been brought back to D2, because they would be so fun and so cool. So I've got a list pulled up over here of all the exotics that aren't currently in Destiny 2. And we're going to talk about some of my favorites here that would be, in my opinion, absolutely amazing in Destiny 2, or could be tweaked a little bit to have a nice, fun purpose. So, starting off here, I'm going to start with Dragon's Breath. Now, for those of y'all who didn't play Destiny 1, Dragon's Breath was basically a rocket launcher, an exotic rocket launcher that shot a napalm canister. When it initially launched, of course, it shot a solar grenade. So you'd shoot it, it would blow up, and it would make a solar grenade where it landed. But Bungie eventually reworked it so that when you shot it, you would hold your trigger down. So you got it right here. There, y'all can see it. You shoot it, you hold the trigger down. When you release the trigger, it would detonate, and it would drop napalm in a nice big area all over the floor, and it would burn for a little while. I don't know why this isn't in Destiny 2. Like, the only thing I think of is maybe it's just difficult to, like, bring into Destiny 2. But this would be a great exotic. So much fun. And I feel like you could have a lot of Solar 3.0 potential. It would literally turn the game into the floor is lava for enemies. We already have sunspots, which can potentially do a mini version of the floor of lava. The floor is lava, but Dragon's Breath could really bring that to the next level. Plus, you could have it so that enemies that stand in that don't die slowly build up scorch stacks. And once they hit 100 scorch, they ignite. I don't know. Other ones on here, I'm gonna skip over to Fabian Strategy. You know what? No. We'll do a notable mention here. Dreg's Promise. Dreg's Promise was a very fun little weapon, but I think Final Warning has kind of replaced Dreg's Promise. But moving on, though, Fabian Strategy. Oh, Fabian Strategy was one of my favorite weapons in Destiny 1. Fabian Strategy was an auto rifle that I believe it was a 600 round per minute auto rifle that once you were within proximity to enemies, within like 7 or maybe like 6 meters of enemies, it would turn into a 900 round per minute auto rifle, because SMGs didn't exist back in D1. So it turned to a 900 round per minute auto rifle, firing substantially faster, and actually I think it also dealt more damage when you were close. It had like basically surrounded. Again, I don't know why that's not in Destiny 2. Like, it would be such a cool exotic. Aesthetically, it was a very appealing exotic. If I can remember, I'll try to do an edit and put the picture of it up there. But Fabian Strategy was a really fun exotic. I don't see a reason why it's not in Destiny 2, outside of the fact that when it jumps up to its 900 round per minute archetype, that would essentially break the auto rifle mold, because auto rifles currently, with one exception, only go up to 720 rounds per minute. The one exception, of course, being Sweet Business, which can, if I'm not mistaken, get up to 900 rounds per minute. But it's in game, it says its base rate of fire is 600 or 360. So I don't know. I would love to see that one come back. Let's see. Blast from the past here. Icebreaker will never come back, unfortunately. It literally breaks ammo economy in Destiny. But Icebreaker, for those of y'all who weren't aware, was an exotic sniper rifle in Destiny 1 that would literally just regenerate its own ammo. Like, it didn't have a magazine, it didn't have the ability to reload. But what was it, every 10 seconds, I believe, I think it was like every 10 seconds, it would just generate one ammo into the magazine, one round into the magazine. This was used to cheese just about every boss in the game, because you could sit up at the top of somewhere really far away and snipe with infinite ammo, which is why I don't think it'll be coming back, but I would love, again, to see it come back some way. I think it'd be really cool, but I don't know how Bungie would fix it, because its identity was the fact it could regenerate ammo. I think it also made enemies explode if you got a kill, which, pretty neat, but not necessary. But yeah, that was Icebreaker. Same thing, Invective. These two are in the same boat. Invective was a shotgun that would do the same thing and just kind of generate its own ammo. Nemesis Star. Now, Nemesis Star was basically the antithetical Thunderlord. Okay, it did the opposite, that Thunderlord did. So Thunderlord, of course, as you lay on the trigger, it starts shooting faster. Nemesis Star started at a high rate of fire and actually would slow down as you shot it, and it would become more accurate, and the bullets would do more damage and stuff like that. This, I could see it being a Destiny 2. I don't see a practical purpose for it. I think that it was an exotic, a filler exotic back in Destiny 1, just something that, hey, we're going to throw this in there because we really don't have any other ideas. Same thing with Abaddon and Nova Mortis. Just going to throw that out there, but, but yeah, Nemesis Star, I feel like it could potentially be reworked into something good. Keep the same part, where it starts out at a high rate of fire and then slows down over time. How could you realistically bring that back as something that is really good? I would say maybe whenever you first start shooting, it deals, massive amounts of damage at the cost of insane recoil. But as you shoot it, it kind of adapts. No, actually, you know what? Better idea. Hold on, scratch everything. Nemesis Star, the closer you are to enemies, the faster it shoots. So if you, and the more recoil it has. So if you are, a really long way away from a boss, just for an example, it would shoot slowly and deal, a reasonable amount of damage to that boss. But if you're right up in a boss's butt cheeks, for lack of a better term, and you start shooting, it would spam fire, and it would deal a massive amount of damage. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I'm just spitballing here. Everybody's beloved, next one on the list, everybody's beloved, sorry, hold on, I'm looking at the list here, I got lost on the list. No Land Beyond. No Land Beyond. Very, very fun sniper. It was a weapon that required, I don't want to say a high amount of skill, but it required, some finesse to use. Basically, No Land Beyond was a bolt action sniper rifle way back in the day, and it had no scope. It had iron sights, which that alone might be the reason why it doesn't come back, because it kind of breaks the mold of what a standard weapon archetype is. But I think it would be really, really cool to see it back. It also had an exotic perk called the Master, where when you got a precision kill, or maybe it was a precision hit, you got increased precision damage for a short duration. But the main thing about it, nobody cared about the exotic perk. The main thing was that it was a sniper that didn't have a scope, which is very, very unique to Destiny 2. And I think a lot of veteran players, myself included, would feel a lot of nostalgia to bring that back out and play with it. But moving on here, we got Patience and Time. I think the thing with Patience and Time is that it's just been outdated. Patience and Time was a sniper back in the day when you would aim down sights. After aiming down sights for a short duration, you would turn invisible. And from what I remember, as long as you stayed ADS, you would remain. You'd continue to stay invisible. That's pretty cool, but I think the primary issue with that is invisibility now is so free and easy to get that it wouldn't make much of a difference. Patience and Time back in the day didn't see a lot of play, but it could see some. In PvE you could pull it out and go invisible, for example, and you could ADS walk over to your teammate or something like that. It allowed Titans and Warlocks to turn invisible, which was not something that they could do back in the day. But I think it's just been outdated by the current invis system. And it sucks because I would love to see it come back. I think a potential change that, one more thing before we talk about changes. It also had Third Eye, which was a perk that allowed you to keep your radar up while aiming down sights. And yeah, I was on a sniper, which is kind of insane. But where was I? Oh yeah. So I think a way that maybe Bungie could adjust or bring back patience in time to keep its identity up, but not like allow it to be too much. Of course, keep the invisibility feature, but I think that just bringing back Third Eye and an enhanced radar when using it would be a nutty idea. You know, you aim down sights, you turn invisible. Oh, and removing scope glare from it too, because that was another thing. Like, even though you were invisible, you still had scope glare. So you weren't necessarily impossible to see. But I think that bringing this weapon back with just a really solid buff to the radar, radar that stays constant or stays active 24/7 would be great. But also like enhanced radar, so you could really see where players, are coming from, would be a tremendous idea. Oh, and also extending the radar range. I think, what is it, Long March on the Legend of Acreas does the same thing. It extends your radar's range. Seeing that on Patience Time could be cool, and could be something that we could see it brought back. Plan C, actually no, I scratched that. Plan C was basically replaced by a perk. Plan C in Destiny 1 was an exotic fusion rifle that's when you would when you pull it out, it had a super fast charge time. It's basically been outdated by the perk backup plan, so no point in bringing Plan C back, really. Pocket Infinity. Sorry, Pocket Infinity. This is this one's a fun one. So Pocket Infinity was a fusion rifle in Destiny 1 that at launch was busted as busted can be. Okay, because at launch it had 10 rounds in the magazine and it fired in full auto. Okay, now we're not going to talk about its initial state because it hasn't been that way in literally 9 years. But basically, it's a fusion rifle that shoots full auto, kind of like Bastion. Bastion is a prime example. Except Bastion fires one shot and 3 volleys. This Pocket Infinity would shoot all of its ammo, or not all of its ammo, I should say, but would shoot its ammo 3 rounds. So, you'd have 3 rounds in the magazine, you'd fire all 3 really, really fast. It also had, what was it? I think mulligan. So if you missed a shot, it would reload the magazine. Well, basically, it was kind of busted because Pocket Infinity would count every single bolt that didn't hit as a missed shot, so you had a chance to generate, a lot of ammo. But what would happen is you would fire Plan C, or I'm sorry, Pocket Infinity, and it would shoot over and over and over and over again, which was a lot of fun. Because it was a fully automatic fusion rifle that had potentially unlimited ammo. Other weapons on here, we see Super Good Advice would be a pretty neat one. Super Good Advice was a machine gun. All its exotic perk was if you missed a shot, it would immediately return back to the magazine, not from reserves. I don't see why they couldn't bring this one back as a new light quest. Get your first exotic as a new light, and make it so that if you miss a shot, you always get it back. Because I think in Destiny 1, it had like a 70 or 80% chance to return to the magazine, but not all, bullets would do that. So you could shoot up into the sky and shoot 200 something rounds before you'd eventually run out of ammo, maybe even more than that. But just make it so that any missed shots with the weapon would be just put right back in the magazine. I think that'd be a good one for new lights. Not really viable as a, raid weapon or anything like that, because it's basically just a machine gun. But for new lights, having a 900 round per minute machine gun that would reload ammo would be probably a pretty good idea. Other weapons on here. Last one I realistically see is Slaylock. Slaylock was a warlock specific exotic, that when your super was charged, it would shoot fast. It would basically become empowered. It would shoot faster, dealt more damage, stuff like that. I don't see a reason why not to bring it back the way it was. Yeah, I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong, it's kind of been, I guess, in a way replaced by Ager's Scepter, kind of. I know that's kind of reaching, but I don't see why Slaylock wouldn't be brought back. You know, I didn't think it was busted by any means. Well, in the Crucible it was kind of powerful, but just maybe do some individual Crucible tuning. And yeah, I mean, the last one on here is Zen Meteor, maybe Zen Meteor, which Zen Meteor, that was a PlayStation exotic. And if I'm not mistaken, it was like if you hit every shot as a precision shot, or if every precision shot or every bullet was a precision kill, the final bullet was this like massive explosion or something like that. I don't know. They could bring it back, give it the ability to scorch, stuff like that. I don't see why not. But yeah, that's kind of all the exotics that I see being relevant in Destiny 2. Just some of my favorites. We did not mention all of them. Boolean Gemini kind of sucked in Destiny 1. It would kind of suck in Destiny 2. Hereafter has been kind of pushed out by the Arc 3.0 subclass. What are some other ones? Necrochasm would be really cool. Actually, Necrochasm, that was one we skipped over. Necrochasm would be amazing to have back. Last one here, Necrochasm was a very fun auto rifle, shot at 900 rounds per minute. And basically, anytime you got a kill, it caused a Curse Thrall explosion wherever that kill happened. I don't see why they don't bring it back in Destiny 1. It did the sound and everything, so you kill a Vex, and it would explode like a Curse Thrall. It was really, really cool. Other weapons that we're not, that we didn't mention on here, again, Red Death, the First Curse, Young Wolf's Howl, Universal Remotes, Zalo Supercell. We didn't talk about those because a lot of those have just been replaced by Destiny 2 counterparts. Yeah, that's kind of it. Zalo, like I said, Risk Runner, Universal Remote is now Duality, stuff like that. But yeah, that's just some blasts from the past. I got all nostalgic because somebody reminded me of a D1 exotic that's not in D2. So wanted to share thoughts and ideas on that. Of course, I want to know if y'all have any thoughts and ideas on exotics from Destiny 1, if they should come back. Something like Icebreaker, something controversial. That's what I want to hear. Obviously we don't see a reason why not to bring back some of the other ones here, but Icebreaker was a busted exotic. How could they bring it back in D2 without absolutely busting the game? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And of course, like the video, helps out the channel a lot. And if you like to hear conversations and ideas and stuff like that, drop a subscription on the channel. It helps out a lot, and we do this every single day, except for Sundays sometimes. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I will catch y'all in the next one. And remember your D1 exotics and say a prayer for them tonight. Bye for now.